Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be part 2 of the Year 6 Key Stage 2 Grammar paper from 2022, and this is part 2 of the walkthrough. We got to question number 26 in part 1, so we're going to be moving on to question 27 onwards. Number 27, insert the correct punctuation into the sentence below. Now here the children are being tested on their ability to add inverted commas to this sentence. So, what time does the concert start? Now I need to put a 66 at the beginning here. I need a question mark after start. And I need to put a 99 there to close my speech. If children also added a comma there after dad, they would also get the mark. But it is not necessary. They are just being tested on their ability to add the question mark and the inverted commas. Number 28, what is the sentence below? Safia asked the teacher which page we had to read. Now, nothing is being asked here. Nobody has been told to do anything. We aren't starting with an imperative verb, and nothing is being exclaimed, so I know that this is just a statement. Something is being stated. Number 29, how does the use of the passive in the second sentence affect the way the information is presented? So in number 1, Max dropped the red bucket. We know exactly who has dropped the bucket. Whereas in number 2, the red bucket was dropped. So we're going to have a look at our options. So it does not say who dropped the bucket. It shows that the action happened in the past. It shows that it was an accident. It does not say why the bucket was dropped. Now, I think we definitely need to tick the first one because it makes it seem as if we do not know who dropped the bucket. So it goes from Max dropping the bucket to the red bucket being dropped. These kind of passive structures are usually found in genres such as newspaper reports that report things that have happened. Number 30. Circle the 4 nouns in the sentence below. So with questions like this, they will always throw in a few abstract nouns that children will have to identify. So they should have circled strength. They should circle wind, they should circle trees, and they should circle forest. Number 31, circle the possessive pronoun in the sentence below. So I'm going to have to make this a little bit bigger here. So the house next to ours, which belongs to Mrs. Green, is for sale. So I'm looking for a pronoun that shows that something belongs to someone. So here, I'm going to circle ours. The house is ours. Number 32. The teacher wants to write a sign to remind children to turn the lights off. Write the command that the teacher might use on the sign. So we need to remember that when we're writing commands, the imperative verb must always come first. So we can give examples like turn the lights off. That could be an option. Or you could also say switch off the lights. But we again need to make sure that it's punctuated correctly. It should have a capital letter and it should have a full stop. If the children said, you must turn off the lights, that's not going to be correct because it doesn't start with an imperative verb. That would be more of a statement. So the children could give things such as, children, please remember to switch the lights off. When you leave today, switch the lights off. Remember to turn the lights off. Anything along those lines. Number 33, circle the relative pronoun in the sentence below. The children who were going swimming had their lunch earlier than we did. So I know that a relative pronoun helps us to describe a noun, and I know that the relative pronoun in this sentence is who. Number 34, circle the subordinating conjunction in the sentence below. And we've spoken about this before. There are lots of different ways that you can remember the different subordinating conjunctions. You can remember things like wabbits, so when, as, after, because, before, if, though, since. So if I have a look at this sentence here, since it is a sunny day, we can play rounders or cricket, and I know straight away that my subordinated conjunction is since. Number 35, and another question where the children are required to punctuate their answer correctly, and lots of children do forget their full stops at the end, and they can tend to forget their capital letters, so it's really important that they remember that. Rewrite the sentence below in the active voice. The dog was fed by Bill. Now in this sentence it's written in the passive. The object comes first, then the verb, then the subject. So we need to switch that so that Bill becomes the subject of the sentence. So we will say, Bill fed the dog. Very, very simple. It would also be accepted if they said Bill was feeding the dog, because that's still correct. It's just that it's in a different verb form. It's in the past progressive tense. Number 36, which option makes the sentence start with an adverbial? So what a fronted adverbial does is it describes the action that follows. So, it was noisy and crowded, but we lined up for the class photo. Well, that's not quite a fronted adverbial, that is a main clause in itself. The photographer arrived while we lined up for the class photo. Again, that's not an adverbial. With big smiles on our faces. There we go. Nice big tick there for that one. The whole class were ready, so that isn't going to be a fronted adverbial, so we should have ticked the third option. Complete the sentence below with an appropriate subordinating conjunction. So just like the subordinating conjunctions we spoke about, but now for this sentence, it needs to be appropriate and it needs to make sense. So it would be blank, it rained all afternoon, the picnic wasn't a success. And there are a few options that we can use. There are some that may not work in this situation. So we could say, although it rained all afternoon, the picnic was a success. You could say, while it rained all afternoon, the picnic was a success. You could also say, even though it rained all afternoon, the picnic was a success. Subordinating conjunctions such as since and because will not make sense in this context, because you wouldn't say, because it rained all afternoon, the picnic was a success. What the sentence needs to say is, even though it rained, the picnic was still successful. So it should be although, while, and even though for that question there. Number 38, circle the coordinating conjunction in the sentence below. And the same as we spoke about using wabbits to identify subordinating conjunctions, children may remember fanboys or different types of acronyms to remember coordinating conjunctions. So here, I started drawing a car, but then I changed my mind because I had a better idea. Now I know that but is my coordinating conjunction. Hopefully they don't get confused and circle because, and because is a subordinating conjunction. So that's why it's really important to read the question. Number 39, circle the preposition in each sentence below. So prepositions show the placement of something. So things like the flowers were on the table. The dog sat under the table. So we have the first one there. The bird flew above the trees. Where were the birds? They were above the trees. And the children sang many songs in their concert. Where did they sing the songs? They sang them in their concert. So above and in are our prepositions there. Number 40, complete the sentence with the simple past of the verbs in the boxes. So I blank my homework on the computer. So the past tense of do is going to be did. I blank to do a project about horses. We're looking at the verb past tense of choose, which is going to be I chose. And I blank by making notes about different breeds. I began by making notes. If the children say begun, that is not correct. Began is the correct verb form in this context. Number 41, insert a hyphen in the correct place in the sentence below. Now, hyphens are used to avoid ambiguity. So, we were very busy in the run-up to the school play. Now, children might think that school play, those two words are joined together to avoid ambiguity, but it's not quite. It's going to be run-up to the school play. Number 42, tick one box in each row to show whether the sentence is written in standard or non-standard English. Now, we actually had a debate about this in my class because people were saying, Miss, number 3 has a contracted form. Does that mean that it's standard or non-standard? So we were having a big debate about whether it's contractions or just the verb structure in itself, or it not making sense that makes it standard or non-standard. So number 1, the first one there, I were going to keep the picture to show you. Now that does not make sense. That is non-standard English. And if we were going to correct that, you would say, I was going to keep the picture to show you. The second one, we was helping to design the new school building. And again, in this scenario, that is non-standard English. That should be, we were helping to design the new school building. Third one, he doesn't know nothing about football. Well, there we have 2 negatives. And again, it doesn't make sense. If you did want to say this sentence, you would say, he doesn't know anything about football. And the fourth one there, I have done all the washing up, is standard English. With questions like this, where there are some kind of phrases that children may use in their everyday speech, they may think that that is, just because it is correct to them, it's standard English. But we need to make sure that you're looking to see, does the question, does it make sense? Is it grammatically correct? Number 43, add a different prefix to each word to form its antonym. So we spoke about antonyms a little bit earlier on I think it was in the part 1 video, and prefixes change the meaning of a word. So the opposite of obey is going to be disobey. The opposite of tolerant is going to be intolerant. And the opposite of patient is going to be impatient. So dis, in, and im for our prefixes there. Number 44, what is the grammatical term for the underlined words in the sentence below? The majestic lioness under the shady tree. Well, I know there I have a noun, which is lioness. I've got an adjective to describe the noun, and I've got a prepositional phrase, under the shady tree. So I know straight away it's not a fronted adverbial. There's no subordinating conjunction which can be seen as under, but in this sentence it forms as a prepositional phrase. It's not a main clause because it doesn't make sense on its own, so this one is going to be a noun phrase. It has a noun, the adjective describes the noun, and the preposition helps to add information about that noun. Number 45. Tick one box in each row to show if the statement about the apostrophe is true or false. So we know that apostrophes are used for contraction, and we know that they are used to show possession. So the boy's lunch was delicious. The apostrophe shows that there is only one boy. Well, that is false because there's more than one boy here. If there was only one boy, the apostrophe would be between the Y and the S. Gina put out the cat's food. The apostrophe shows that there is more than one cat, and that is true, because if there was only one cat, again, like I mentioned before, the apostrophe would be between the T and the S. The girls' party is this afternoon. Well, here it's saying that the apostrophe shows that there is more than one girl, but that is false. There is only one girl. And the tree's leaves were green. The apostrophe shows that there is only one tree. That is going to be false, because again, the apostrophe is after the S. If there was only one tree, it would be between the E and the S. Number 46. Rewrite the sentence in the passive voice. Remember to punctuate your answer correctly. So, the children grew vegetables. This sentence is in the active voice. I have my subject, I have my verb, and I have my object. Subject being children, verb being grew, and vegetables being my object. So the options that the children could give for this one were vegetables were grown by the children. Full stop. They could also say simply vegetables were grown. And again, they need to make sure, like I've said a few times before, capital letter and punctuation or full stop at the end of their sentence. Number 47. Now, I hadn't seen a question like this in the SATS papers for a long while, so I like to see questions like this, although children can often find them quite tricky. Insert full stops and capital letters in the passage below so it is punctuated correctly. Frogs are amphibians. So I'd need a full stop there because I know that's the end of my sentence. So my next word should have a capital T. They live on land, but they lay their eggs in water. Full stop. Capital T. Their eggs are called frog spawn. Full stop. Capital D. During the winter, frogs hibernate at the bottom of ponds or in compost heaps, and I need to remember to put a full stop at the end of that sentence. Number 48, circle the 3 adverbs in the sentence below. Now I know that adverbs are used to describe verbs. Because it was raining hard, the driver was unable to see clearly and almost crashed his shiny new car. So I'm looking for the words that describe the verbs. So it was raining, and I know that it was raining hard, so hard is going to be my adverb there. The driver was unable to see. He was unable to see clearly. Clearly describes how he was able to see, so I will circle clearly, and I'm going to circle almost because that describes how he nearly crashed. He almost crashed. Number 49, tick one box in each row to show which form of the verb is underlined in each sentence. Nathan had hoped for a part in the school play. Now, where I have that verb form had hoped, I know straight away that that is in the past perfect tense. We do have another video, which is a revision video all about tenses, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the past perfect tense. The children were rehearsing their lines. So I have my verb and I have my verb form with ing, so I know, again, that's past progressive. Also mentioned in another revision video that we have on the channel. Lots of parents came to watch. Well, that is going to be the simple past tense. And the last question in the paper, again, the paper's out of 15 marks, so this is the last one. Circle the 2 determiners in the sentence below. I don't think determiners have been mentioned yet in this paper. In an hour, we will be getting on our train. Determiners usually come, well, they always come before nouns. So in an hour, we will be getting on our train. So in this question, both an and our should be circled. I hope you found this video really useful. Please make sure that you give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please come back to see lots more useful videos to help your children prepare for their SATs, which are coming up soon. And we really are grateful for that you're watching, and we hope to see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.